All right, today is October 8th, Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard. Let's take a look at the markets. A lot of movement here, and this is one of those days, or really one of those weeks, I would say, where you're kind of in this flow state with trading where everything seems to be going right. And, knock on wood here, I'm sure that will change in the near term. But sometimes you get on a win streak here where everything you do seems to be the right move. Now, granted, haven't been making all the perfect calls, but have been right in the macro. So, what I mean by that is we got in on crude and energies. We've been talking about going long energies the past couple of weeks on these trading reports. What happened? We had Middle East conflict, we had a short squeeze, and we had energies ripped to the upside. Now, granted, I did exit some of these positions for profit, ended up rotating into a short on crude oil, made profit there, but we did leave a little bit early. We left some profit on the table on a crude oil when we exited. We exited around 71.80, and it ended up ripping as high as 78. Now, we did get in and out of a number of trades here, so we did make more than if we just kind of held on and then caught it on the bottom in the rotation down. But in the macro, everything's been going really well. So, what trades have we done so far? So, we actually made a palladium short and made some profit here, and it's already retesting back to the entry point at 10.25 that we shorted at. So, looking to get in on another short position there. We jumped in on silver, although a little bit early. These are small positions given it's my momentum indicator strategy. So silver has been flagged as a momentum buy for some time now. We have made a profit in the past on it. We're looking to get back in below 31.50. We got in around 31.30, and now it is a little bit negative, but not anything I'm worried about. Looks like we're going to probably find some support here around the $29 to $30 mark and look to head higher. So did get in there, although not the best entry. But again, we're in on the momentum strategy. There's longer and further stops when we do that. So we're in smaller positions with a lot wider of a margin here for a potential stop out. My momentum indicator, I actually back test it and have preferred to have a stop based on the last 40 candles on the daily. So we're looking at it's usually about 2 months if you don't count the weekends. So the lowest of the past 2 months is the stop where we put in our stop loss or our stop order here. So silver, we got a wide margin here and plenty of room to go to the upside. I think we're in just a small corrective phase here before we head higher. Other positions that I am in from the momentum standpoint is Bitcoin. So we got in on Bitcoin right around this price. I think we're in a very small profit here. We've been flagged for momentum buy on Bitcoin. I also like the positioning. Commercial starting to really rotate long here, and speculators getting crowded short. So Bitcoin's a good buy. And then the Nasdaq we got in yesterday on the dip, which bounced off this resistance line, and we're up 1.5% today. So a nice little profit there on the Nasdaq, which was a momentum buy. And I was deciding between I think we're conflicted between the S&P and the Nasdaq, but the Nasdaq's been lagging, and it looked like the Nasdaq was better set up from a positioning standpoint. So we ended up going with the Nasdaq, and that was the right decision for today. Other positions that we are looking at are we're on this natural gas short, which has been doing really well. Looks like we have found a temporary top here. I just talked about palladium getting back in and getting back in on crude oil. So, crude oil chart's really interesting to me right now. If I pull up this 4 hour candle, I have this teal line here that was meant to act as a substantial resistance line. And this goes all the way back to 2022 here in the early year. And that tagged and respected that resistance line where we got rejected here at $78. So, that's going to be tough to break out of that. And that is where we got in short and made a small profit here on the downside. That's really our top line resistance. Now, if we break out of that, oil can really head higher here. But if not, that's really a short term top. And where am I seeing an opportunity to re enter? I'm looking at these two trend lines here that are converging. So we have going back to the highs here of July, we've got a trend line right here that tests these previous lines where we found resistance. Now we're finding that as support. And it also is a converging trend line that goes back to another downward candle, or sorry, downward line we have dating back to early 2023. So this line has been pretty well respected here, minus the past couple of weeks where it broke below it. But that's been a very well respected line that was previously support when we broke below it. and now it's turned into resistance. So I see a good entry here around the $72 to $73 mark for us to go further to the upside. Now, granted, we'll probably end up tagging resistance here again at $77, $78, but would like to at least get back in on this and continue going long. Heating oil is also interesting, but I would not be in both heating oil and crude, so I'm mostly focused on crude oil as of right now. And then we're still in on the yen short, so yen short looking really well here. We had broken out temporarily to the upside of this channel that I was tracking, and then we are now right back into the channel and then bouncing off the top of it. Likely going to be heading lower here. So have a couple of alerts in place. We had a little bit of buying momentum the past couple of days, but we're now starting to see some selling pressure. So if we go on the daily, yesterday was a strong day for the yen, but we're going right back down today. So other than that, looking at the dollar as a potential buy if it goes a little bit lower here, but looks like it's finding a temporary top since this recent squeeze and breakout and this wedge pattern. Not too much else on the radar. So we're in a good amount of positions here. We're in on silver. We're looking to get in on gold again. We're in on the NASDAQ and Bitcoin for the momentum buys. We're looking to get in on crude again and re-entry. We're in on a short on natural gas. We're looking to short again on palladium. Outside of that, that is what we're looking at. So not too much else I'm seeing in the markets here. We're going to continue to see how things play out, and we're in some really good profit for the year. So we have room to make more errors, or not necessarily more errors, right? We want to stick to process, but more room to be wrong. So we can continue to feel confident in executing the trading process that we adhere to, and know that we're in profit, even if we get the next couple of trades wrong. So that's it for today, and we'll talk again later in the week. Thanks.